Hello, it's Ms. Legalista, aka Attorney Sheila here, and we're going to be talking about the actor Lance Reddick, who starred in The Wire and his death. I've got some competing stories I'm hearing here. Is there going to be some sort of lawsuit? What happened with the autopsy? I'm just sort of catching up to all of this, but let's dive a little deeper into it.
Yeah.
So we've got some competing stories on what was going on with this. First of all, I never watched The Wire. It was not something that I followed, although I did hear, that a lot of people thought it was a really good show. Me checking my phone there. Okay, so let's go over to these stories. And I think the first one, let's just sort of go back to the News report. This was the one that I think just had some of the initial information in it. They said they had gotten a copy of his death certificate or something like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at it and see exactly what it says here. All right, so it says new details on his passing have been disclosed. He died at the age of 60. Okay, now we're not too many years apart there. His cause of death has been attributed to heart disease, according to the death certificate obtained by News. So a lot of news organizations have been reporting this because he was pretty well known. Says previously that he had died of natural causes. So this was back in March. So this has hardly been a month, and we're getting the information now on what exactly happened. So these news reports have been out there, but here's the thing: we now have this news report from People, which says something entirely different. It sounds like the attorney for the family and for actor Lance Reddick before he passed says that just can't be the case. This can't be the case, he said. And I want to dive into what he said into the statement that he released to People magazine. This is wholly inconsistent with his lifestyle. And they go through here and they talk about a couple of things that I wanted to point out. Okay, so first of all, they talk about what the cause of death was listed as. And I'm going to go to the American Heart Association's website in just a minute. But it says hours after the initial report, Reddick's attorney, James Hornstein, issued a statement to People. I have represented Lance Reddick for many years and continue to represent his wife, Stephanie. The coroner's statement on the death certificate is not a result of an autopsy. No autopsy was performed on Lance. To my knowledge, no medical examination of Lance during his lifetime ever indicated such conditions, the statement read. So he's already got some concerns here about what kind of actions were taken in order for him to make this assertion on the death certificate that this is how he died. Now, I'm not a medical examiner or coroner, so I couldn't tell you, but I'm sure they have certain policies and procedures that they have to follow in order to make any sort of determination like this. But apparently, this attorney, this family attorney for the wife, and for Lance before he passed is saying, no, this is just not holding up. I don't believe it. And here's why. Further in the article, the very next paragraph, he sort of details why he thinks this is the case. He says, Lance was the most physically fit person I've ever known. He exercised daily at his home gym, including extensive cardio work, and the availability of gym facilities was a contractual requirement for his work away from home. He ate as if a dietitian was monitoring his every meal. The information appearing on the death certificate is wholly inconsistent with his lifestyle. And then it says, on behalf of Stephanie Reddick, the death certificate information is not corroborated and is inconsistent with the facts known to the family. So he was 60 years old, just to point that back out again. But they are saying that because of his lifestyle, this means that he could not have had heart disease like that. Well, we're going to go to the American Heart Association page to check that out. But before we do that, let's just talk about this a little bit more. So, first of all, he had this piece in his contract that stated what kind of facilities he had to have access to. It's one of those things that you can say when you're an actor, hey, here are the things that I want when you get to a certain level. He was at that level, so he could ask that. And again, some of these jobs are very physical in nature anyway. And so it sounds like he was this person who took very good care of himself. Therefore, it was probably really upsetting to the family to find out that that's what was listed on the death certificate. But I want to go to the page for the American Heart Association, where they actually talk about what this is. This is one of the things that was listed here. So let me pull that up so that we can take a look at it. It says silent, which means there aren't usually any symptoms that you see, sort of like high blood pressure. They call it the silent killer. So this is sort of the same thing here, what we're talking about. It says it's a condition in which blood flow and thus oxygen, because oxygen is carried by your red blood cells, is restricted or reduced in a part of the body. It says cardiac ischemia is decreased blood flow and oxygen to the heart muscle. It's heart problems caused by narrowed heart arteries. So you're not going to be able to see any of these things. What is a silent? It says you can have episodes without knowing it or having pain. So he could be working out, he could be going about his life, he could be doing everything. And so it looks like unless he's having a stress test or an ECG or something to detect some sort of abnormality or some sort of issue, then it's likely that he's probably not going to have outward symptoms and he's really going to need this test. So, going back to what the attorney for the family said, they're just like, hey, we don't see any corroboration of this. You didn't do an autopsy. And so you made some sort of determination without that. But I want to go over here to Deadline because there were some comments here just from people who've sort of been in the same situation, but these are people who are still alive. Let me see if I can pull that one up. This article from Deadline, Lance Reddick, cause of death disputed by family attorney. Again, this is the attorney stepping up and saying, hey, we think you really got this wrong. And I just told you what the statement was. That statement came from People magazine. They had actually sent it to People magazine. That was my understanding of it. And again, here's this part that I just read to you about what the attorney said. He had it in his contract, okay, that there were certain things that needed to be taken care of. It says he was 60. He had collapsed in his Studio City backyard when his wife Stephanie found him and called emergency services. But I want to go down here to the comments because this is what I thought was kind of interesting. As one person says, I'm 58 and in shape, worked out all my life, never smoked, don't drink, no drugs. 2021, my stomach started hurting, had all tests done for stomach, etc. Was referred to cardiologist. I ended up with a triple bypass. Doctor says genes, heart disease, high cholesterol is 85% genetics. The rest is diet. For some people, it does not matter how fit you are, how much you work out. If you have a genetic predisposition for atherosclerosis, you will get heart disease. Many super athletes die of heart disease all the time from heart-related anomalies. This person says an attorney is claiming a doctor lied on a routine autopsy. Well, remember first, the attorney is claiming that there wasn't an autopsy. This person says, for what purpose? Yeah, exactly. So where is this going? Are they now going to have an autopsy? And what's the reasoning behind some of this? Do they feel like some extra information was disclosed about his health condition that they felt like shouldn't have been disclosed, and now he's being portrayed in a bad light? I'm trying to understand the attorney and the family's position on this because it's not really clear. Jay says being fit and dieting does little if you're already stricken with heart disease. Many don't even know they have heart disease. So that was the piece that I just read from the American Heart Association. Ryan says fitness level can have little bearing on some forms of coronary heart disease. I've had a heart attack myself from a blocked artery. My cholesterol was good, no family history, physically active, 42-year-old. I attended group sessions after my heart attack with other survivors, some of them athletes, a long distance runner, a footballer. Lifestyle can play a part. Smoking is a killer, but fitness level is not always an indicator. So yeah, a lot of different people weighing in on that. And this was the point that I was asking. what is the purpose of arguing the cause of death here? Another person says insurance. And the response is, I wouldn't think that would affect an insurance payout. Being ruled a heart condition would still qualify for an insurance payout. Yeah, it's not like there was something else going on here. I could see if they were arguing foul play and one party said it wasn't, one party said it was, and that was holding up the insurance payout because there was some sort of concern about an person receiving it improperly or something. But that is not even the case. So this sounds really weird that they're arguing the cause of death. I don't know how often that ever happens anywhere in a situation like this where it's just heart disease. But no, it can't be heart disease because he's taken very good care of himself. But that's it. We'll see where that goes, whether or not the attorney takes that any further. The attorney is still saying that he represents the wife now in the family and represented Lance, I guess, for a really long time. I don't know. So maybe this was just something that the family felt like they needed to want to have a say in, needed to want to get some sort of different version out there that fit. I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure that piece out. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep following, see if anything develops of this. Because, like Anonymous said, what is the point of arguing the cause of death here? What is the reason behind this? I have some other thoughts. They are good thoughts. They have nothing to do with the family. They have to do more with some other things. But yeah, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.